Welcome back, friends, to Can We Talk with Jewel podcast, proudly sponsored by fundraisingcup.org Ministries. We're honored to have a dear friend and returning guest back to our show, Dr. Nina Ritchie. Dr. Ritchie has spoken with us before about her experience as a targeted individual, and today we're deep diving into some freedom of speech, government accountability, and some very controversial policies making headlines today in the UK. And here in the US, Dr. Ritchie, thank you.
And I read Article 10 of Human Rights of Freedom of Expression. Now, what they've done now, further to that, I'm a documentary exposing further misconduct by the local taxpayers authority, Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea Council. They kept me here to gangstalk me, harass me, install spy cameras, hack my phones, seven of my phones. I get an alert 4 o'clock in the morning that my internet, my Wi-Fi has been hacked. I called the police. My SIM cards were blocked. I called my provider that my SIM card, why did you block it? He said, Dr. Ritchie, we didn't block it. Called the police. I reported to the police, and behind my back, the police, instead of investigating the crime, they conducted the fake Mully report saying I've got a paranoia, I'm mentally ill, and I'm reporting this crime. So they, behind my back, the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea Council management, my own doctor whom I knew, Dr. Brannick, for 14 years, from eczema surgery, they all colluded behind my back and wrote fake Mully reports saying I've got paranoia, I'm mentally ill, I need to be arrested and put in a psychiatric ward. And I was literally shocked.
Oh my God.
So they came into my apartment actually, and I explained to them that this is political motivated, that's why you're here. And they went with red face, and they said, Dr. Ritchie, you're perfectly fine. You're quite intelligent woman. You know what you're doing. You are not mentally ill. So they just went. They left. So since then, I've been writing to House of Parliament, House of Lords, law enforcement agencies to expose this, and National Health Service Fraud Department to investigate this matter. And now we have, thank God that we've got, this is all motivated by Freemason institution and member of Freemason who are protecting each other. So this is what's been going on here.
Oh, wow, that's very chilling. And that was going to be my next follow-up question was, who do you think is involved in this? And the other thing is, Ms. Ritchie, I know that I interviewed quite a few targeted individuals, and one thing that I've noticed that has been a common denominator is the fact that when they speak up and vocalize what's happening to them, a lot of times they are being pushed or channeled into these false diagnoses immediately. And so I'm just wondering, to what extent does this network, this Freemasonry network, have connection with doctors and lawyers and law enforcement, in your opinion?
Well, there are members of the House of Parliament. We have had debates, actually, on this with the government disclosure and everything. So there has been debate about Freemason institutions in the House of Parliament or House of Lords, and the House of Lords and the House of Parliament have given a speech and said that it's so dangerous to have Freemason members in a National Health Service, in a local taxpayers authorities, and educational system, and House of Parliament or House of Lords, because he's a decision maker, it's conflict of interest, and it's against the Christian values, that British values that we uphold. This is a Christian country, and Freemasons do not align with those Christian values at all. And when we have Freemason members in National Health Service, in local council, Taxpayers Authority, Royal Borough Council and Chelsea Council, and House of Lords. Like, I'm going to give an example, Lord Rami Ranger, he's abusing his position of authority, and he's involved in cash for favors. My ex-client, he's a criminal. He's got a criminal background, but I'm a victim of crime, and I'm being targeted, and he's being shielded. They've been shielding each other. So this is Freemason brotherhood and sisterhood. They have their covenant. So no matter what crime they commit, they have to protect each other. So this is a conflict of interest that's been having. But now even the police, our law enforcement agency are questioning that every police officers who are Freemason, they have to declare that they're Freemason. So now we're trying to see if we can get the National Health Service, local taxpayers authorities and everyone to revoke Freemason members in this institution, because I'm the primary example of as a victim. I'm not getting justice. My other colleagues are not getting justice. They've been targeted. They've been blacklisted. I've been blacklisted. I have another lady in educational. Her son was targeted in the education system. I have another lady in National Health Service. She's a nurse, very reputable, very respected. She's been targeted in the National Health Service, and they blacklisted her. So obviously, and she's a senior nurse. She dedicated herself in the National Health Service as a nurse, and she's been targeted. Now so we have been targeted unlawfully by Freemason members, and this is absolutely disgusting. And we've done nothing wrong. We are the victim of their crime, and they are the one who's committing crime. Breaking into apartments, stealing items, hacking into phone calls, listening to phone calls. They're just trespassing to properties, installing spy cameras.
Wow, that's really serious.
This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening in London, and I have never come across anything like this. I was literally shocked. 2023, I was gonna actually get a political asylum somewhere. That's how dangerous they made it for me. And the Royal Borough Council and Chelsea Council are actually acting as a mafia gang. This is how they're behaving, sharing personal keys with a third party. I found 2 men outside my front door and another guy with a bunch of keys.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, listen, what's going on? As soon as they saw me coming towards my apartment, they moved away.
These supposed neighborhood watch groups are getting bribes and non-disclosure agreements, from what I'm hearing from targeted individuals internationally, and their civil rights and liberties are being violated every single day. I know back in the 90s, from what I recall, Parliament even debated Masonic influence in public life. And, some of the MPs urged disclosure back then, warning of secrecy and unfair advantage. Now, here in the U.S., a similar Full Disclosure Act is being floated around, which I'm in full support of. I'm all about transparency. Believe that. And as a targeted individual, do you see this policy as transparency or just another form of surveillance?
Yeah, of course, yes. In the House of Parliament, Chris Mullen, MP, Labour Party, Affairs Select Committee inquiry on Freemasonry in a public life in 1997 to 1999, which examined the police, judiciary, and other public bodies, National Health Service, CPS, to transparency. And House of Lords ministers, Lord William, of mostly Home Affairs Minister, reported Freemasonry declaration as voluntary registered law 1999. And they raised these concerns. In the Parliament, National Health Service, there has been common motion, press reporting about the National Health Service appointees and Freemasonries abusing position of authority. It's dangerous to have them in this institution because it's a conflict of interest. We have QCs, lawyers, judges. We cannot get justice.
Wow, it seems like it's really getting out of hand, and that's why we want to make an effort here at fundraisingcup.org and this podcast show to give you guys the forum to speak about what's happening behind the veil and how your civil liberties are being violated every day. This seems like something that's not really brought public, and it's kind of one of those who's who that know what's going on behind the scenes. But speaking of freedom of speech and censorship, we're seeing troubling signs out there in the UK. I wanted you to give us an idea of what's going on with digital ID. The UK government is pushing a mandatory system by 2029, storing identity credentials in gov.uk app, claiming it will simplify services. Critics warn it creates an enormous hacking target. From your perspective, especially being a targeted individual, I would like to know, would you put your trust in the government, giving them even more information with what's being compromised of your privacy right now?
I mean, our privacy has been compromised already. As I said, I've had trespass into my properties. I've had my bank accounts hacked, my social media hacked, and monitoring 24/7. This is my privacy and my violation. Have been targeted, and none of the government officials are supporting our women here. Oh, obviously the citizen. And with the digital ID, I think we've got over 2.5 million signatures now, a petition to revoke the digital ID. So the petition is rising, so let's just hope that it's going to be debated in House of Parliament, and we wouldn't have this digital ID because, and 10-minute cities as well. They're trying to do 10-minute cities. I don't know. They're trying to control everything here.
Yes, and we're keeping an eye over in China because they seem to have taken a lot of these